Welcome to another Tag Team Talent Search podcast, the podcast that focuses on talent from around the world. And here's the guy that's produced live and television entertainment for the last 40 years, and he's going to be the host of the show, for goodness sakes. Here he is, Scott Edwards.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tag Team Talent Podcast. We have 3 amazing videos to share with you this week, and a really fun comic magician extraordinaire, Larry Wilson. Woo! Joining me as the co-host. Larry and I have been friends for probably too long to mention.
Yes, millions of years.
And it is such a joy to have you on the show this week.
Yes, it is.
He hails out of Reno, Nevada, but he happened to be doing a show in the Bay Area and dropped by so we could put him on as a co-host. But I really appreciate it. Now, you were the 2019 Comic Magician of the Year. That's a national award. Mm-hmm. You've been around for decades doing all kinds of TV. In fact, you helped with the magic effects on the movie Airplane.
Yes, I did, by God.
You've had a lot of great experiences. What are you doing here?
I'm just hanging out. I got to be someplace, right? I mean, I have to be somewhere. Yeah. You know, I was just thinking about Airplane because I was reading yesterday, a number of people mentioned when they work with Leslie Neilson. I was hired by the Zucker brothers on Airplane. There's that scene when they're on the plane and everyone's starting to get sick, and one of the stewardesses says, "Is there someone who's a doctor?" And it cuts to Leslie Neilson. He has a stethoscope around his neck, and he says, "I'm a doctor." And she says, "Could you come look at this woman? She's very sick." And so he comes over, and he asks her to open her mouth, and an egg comes out. And he takes it out, and another egg comes out, and another egg, and another egg. And he takes one of the eggs and cracks it on her coffee cup, and a live bird flies out and flies down. And he turns away from the woman to the steward and says, "This woman is very ill." Right? But that whole magic thing, I created and taught him to do. And
that is so cool.
He was so great. And what made me think of him was, every interview from that movie on, he started to become the king of spoofs and doing
spoofs. It's so funny. For those that don't remember, Leslie Neilson was a very serious actor up until Airplane, and then he did so much comedy after that.
For 30 years, he was a serious leading man. Forbidden Planet and on and all these other films. But every interview I've read about him in subsequent films, they talk about this fart machine he had.
Really?
But I was there on Airplane, was the first time that I think he really brought it out. It then became a signature thing. It was a short device made out of a short piece of hose with openings on both ends. And if you practiced with it, you could put it in your hand and squeeze it, and it would make a farting sound that was very realistic. And I was standing there when he was telling some of the crew about it, and they were going, "Oh, you know," they thought he was making it up. So he said, "No, I used to get them from this novelty house in Chicago." And next thing I knew, next week, he'd ordered a case of them.
Oh, wow.
And he was showing them how to use them. And some woman, I can't say for sure, because I just remember he was being interviewed on set by somebody. It was like Entertainment Tonight or something. And he had this one hand behind his back, and he's completely straight-faced, because this is before that movie was released. So everyone thought of him as a serious guy. And while he was being interviewed by this, he kept making these noises with this machine. But he was completely straight-faced. He'd say, "Well, you know, when I began my..." And then he'd say, "Pardon me." And then he'd just keep going. And then,
I bet the newscaster was freaked.
And the woman was looking like, what? And then he'd say, "You know, this is an opportunity." And then he'd say, "Oh, I should have avoided those tacos at lunch." And the crew around her is like losing it. They're going crazy. But she's trying to keep, she just thinks this guy has some serious gastrointestinal distress. Oh my God. But it was her
practicing
Of course.
flatulence.
Oh my God.
Well, that's a great story. Thank you, Larry. And next time you watch the movie Airplane, you'll have an inside story on that. Thanks for being on our co-host today.
Well, my pleasure.
We have some amazing videos, some good variety. We ready to jump in?
If
Are
not,
you ready? Ladies and gentlemen,
of course they're ready. Of course.
our first video is a tremendous stand-up comic. He was born in Hawaii, but he now hails out of Seattle, Washington. He's played all over, a fair amount of TV. He's mostly a concert and club performer. He's still out there today. If you get a chance, see him. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share with you a video he just sent me of Kermet Apio.
Oh, Kermit. Funny.
Very funny guy.
Funny.
There we go, a little comedy with Kermet Apio.
I am in my late 40s. I am 52. I like saying late 40s. You know, it sounds like there's still hopes and dreams. So I thought it'd be a bigger deal turning 50. You're getting a new zero. It was big at 30. It was big at 40. You know what? It's not at 50. You don't wake up on your 50th birthday, oh, yay! Ooh, this bump is new. Awesome! I look like a climbing wall. Yay, life! You're happy to get to a birthday, but really after a half century, all it means is, hey, you've been on the planet kind of a long time. I was thinking about this. I was in school so long ago, I remember making ashtrays in art class. Remember that, anybody? There you go. That's right. Yes. Yeah. That's right, youngsters. That's what we did. We made ashtrays in school. Wow, could you imagine suggesting that little idea today? That teacher would be on the ground with a PTA mom's foot right on his head. We're on lockdown. We are on lockdown. Sarah, get my iPad. We need to make a Facebook group now. We made ashtrays in school. You had to use your 9-year-old finger to make a cigarette wedge. Remember that? I'm going to put glitter on it. We made addiction cute. That was our assignment. All right, kids, get your welder's mask. We're making shot glasses for mommy. Let's do this. And if you haven't finished your macaroni bongs, get them done. Let's go. It's almost Christmas time in the 70s, and that's how we roll. Anytime someone says 50 is old, you know what I do? I'll tell you what I do. I take my Walkman out of my members only jacket and I don't listen to them. That's what I
Oh, God.
do. Once again, for those of you under 40, the Walkman was a musical listening device. Kind of like an iPod, only steam powered, really. About this big, had a butter churn crank sticking out of it. Remember cassettes? Oh, that was fun. Remember trying to find a song on a cassette? Bring a book and a lunch. That's an afternoon. Remember that? Stop, rewind. Stop, play. That's not it. Stop, rewind. Oh, it's on the other side.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the comedy of Kermet Apio. Very funny stand-up comic and a good friend of mine. He's still performing today. What did you think of Kermit?
Kermit's funny. Kermit, I've worked with Kermit, and he's always funny. Again, a pro, it's like squeaky clean and totally relaxed, you know.
Yeah, and you could tell the professionals because they know their stuff. They know how to engage with the audience.
Yeah.
And the stories he was sharing in those jokes was stuff that everybody, well, especially over 40, could relate to.
Yes. People under 40, no idea what he's talking about.
Well, ashtrays in school, I mean, I remember that, but that would be
yeah.
a start of a revolution today.
Oh, my God. I was telling my son the other day, I remember as a kid seeing television commercials with doctors who were smoking while they were with a patient. And the thing was, this is, you know, Chesterfield's, the cigarette recommended by doctors. You know, And my kid thought I was pulling his leg, you know. I said, no, this is real. This is, you know.
Well, one of my favorites was, we used to show it before the shows at the club back in the day, was an actual commercial with Fred Flintstone.
Oh, yeah.
Saying, you know, Winston's are my cigarettes, you know, and he'd light up. And when, I mean, it was the Flintstones, and it was Fred Flintstone and Barney lighting up.
That's right. Well, because it was like, you know.
Crazy times. Well, we hope you enjoyed that video. Kermit Apio is very funny, still out touring. If you get a chance, catch him if he comes to your town. But we have something different. This is from Surabaya, I hope I'm saying that right, Surabaya, Indonesia.
Oh.
And it was sent to us by Olaal. Does that sound right?
Sure.
Olaal is dancing for us, and apparently this is at a girls' school, and she sent this video in. We want to share it with everybody.
Fantastic.
Larry, let's watch Olaal. Oh, and there's a couple girls behind her, looks like. It's an amazing time when you can take your phone, put on record, and have it seen around the world.
Yeah. It's science fiction.
And what's interesting is she's obviously very serious about what she's doing and has been practicing. The girls behind don't quite look in sync, but
I think this woman, Olaal, must be the either teacher or leader of this.
I'm not even sure she's aware they're back there.
Well,
She's very graceful.
yeah.
Now, she didn't explain what type of dance this is, but it's obviously,
Must be traditional.
yeah, Indonesian dance.
Yeah.
Tells a story, maybe. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was Olaal from Surabaya, Indonesia. She sent us that video. We got to share it. What'd you think?
I loved it. I loved it, particularly the end. The hand movement she was doing
Yeah, very detailed.
was so graceful that they didn't look like hands anymore. They looked like something else, like wings of a bird or something.
Wow, she was either really good or you're high.
I think it might be a little bit of both. Could be.
Well, we want to thank Olaal
Yeah.
for sending that in. Certainly a video worth sharing. And if you have some talent and you want to share it with the world, send us your video. Go to our website, www.tagteamtalentsearch.com, tagteamtalentsearch.com. Send us your video and we'll showcase it to the world. But hey, I got something special.
Yes?
It's time for the Classic Rewind. That's right, that's when we take videos from back in the archive. I used to produce some TV and a lot of stage shows, and I was able to pull together some old videos that are very entertaining.
Oh, great.
This next one, the Classic Rewind, stars a good friend of mine, Bob Worley.
Yep.
He's out of South Pasadena. He's used to do a lot of comedy in the 80s and early 90s. He has since retired and helped raise his kids, but he's a great guy. In fact, you'll see him as a co-host on some of these shows. Very, very funny just naturally. But let's see his comedy from back in the 80s. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Worley.
Oh man, where I live in Hollywood? Hollywood. I have these French doors that open in. I know the French because whenever I open them, they go, except this little French guy living right between that and the screen. No. But there's a lot of homeless there. But anyways, this guy, you open them up and the cats like to climb the screens to kind of watch the cars go by and they think it's really cool. They're good to, you know, they kind of sun themselves. So the other day to get back at them for messing up the furniture, I shut the doors behind them. You know, like, hey, oh, son of a bitch! They're cats, right? They're just going, meow, meow. But if they could speak English, that's what they'd be saying. You know, less than Spanish. I don't know. I don't know. Hey, if you ever said that to me, I'll kick his ass! You grab and you kind of throw back in the house and your friend's standing there, you know, and you go, I mean, they got claws. They're dangerous, man. I mean, who needs a pit bull Doberman? You got a cat. You know, you're on a late night stroll, some guy tries to rob you. All right, man, give me your wallet. All right, but hold on to fluff, you know, just... Yeah, I wouldn't like that part. Because they get agitated, that tail starts moving around. So then they know you're getting ready for a cat fight. I guess you carry a Manx, one of those cats without a tail. You get in a cat fight, you go for that tail, you're dead meat. Hey, now you wouldn't stuff a cat down the front of your pants, would you? Would you? No. Maybe that one time. That's it. Then you go get him declawed for sure. By the way, if you ever bathe your cat, don't get in the tub with them. That's just my advice to you people. Whatever. Well, you know, people do this with guns. Right? You ever see those movies where they shove like a 45 right down the front of their pants? Anybody ever do that? Hey, it's got a safety. Oh. No. I was going to use that later.
That was some old material by my good friend Bob Worley live on stage. What did you think, Larry?
Well, Worley's hysterical. Worley's always
and like we talked about earlier, when comics are physically expressive and use their face much like Bob Worley, it comes across so much easier for the audience.
Yeah, and he's, you know, he's an example of a guy who has such a unique voice that's distinctly him. You wouldn't mistake him for anybody else. Worley's fun.
No, he's one of a kind, and he's a co-host on some of the future shows, and we have more videos of him, but we were happy to have him on the show today. In fact, we had 3 great videos. We had comic Kermet Apio.
Yes.
We had a little bit of dance from Olaal out of Indonesia, and then our classic rewind was Bob Worley, and very importantly, my good friend Larry Wilson.
Yes, very high production value on this show.
Join me as the co-host. We hope you enjoyed yourself. Be sure to comment, subscribe, tell your friends, and we'll see you back next week. Thanks for joining us, Larry. Thanks for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. See ya.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the Tag Team Talent Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss the next big talent reveal. And don't forget to write in the comments below which performer you thought was best in this episode. We love hearing from you. See you soon!